Right now, the Senate voted 51 to 49 to approve the Republican tax bill. Republicans passed the $1.5 trillion tax rewrite along party lines. One Republican, Senator Bob Corker of Tennessee, voted against the bill. Vice President Mike Pence provided a tie-breaking vote to pass an amendment offered by Senator Ted Cruz of Texas, which would allow people to use up to $10,000 a year from tax-advantaged 529 savings accounts to fund tuition at private and religious K-12 schools or certain educational expenses for homeschooled students. Democrats are crying foul over getting a revised, nearly 500-page bill just hours before being asked to vote on it. The revised bill includes a significant number of changes, including a modified version of the alternative minimum tax on wealthy individuals. Check out our live tracker to see how lawmakers voted on some of the amendments. The Senate rejected an amendment offered by Senators Marco Rubio of Florida and Mike Lee of Utah, both Republicans, that would have increased the child tax credit for low-income families and pay for it by nudging up the corporate tax rate. The Congressional Budget Office released a truncated estimate late Friday for the revised Senate tax bill, finding it would amount to a tax cut of just under $1.5 trillion over 10 years. That finding enables the bill to pass under Senate rules for the budget reconciliation process. The Senate passed the Republicans' sweeping tax overhaul with several holdouts throwing their support behind the bill. Ms. Collins, who was the last big holdout, said she would support the bill after changes she wanted were made to the legislation. Mr. Corker voted against the bill, the only Republican senator to object to the legislation. Party leaders also picked up the votes of three other holdouts, Mr. Flake, Mr. Daines and Mr. Johnson. Mr. McConnell and Senator John Kerry, the No. 2 Senate Republican, said on Friday morning that Republicans had the 50 votes they need to pass the tax bill. Republicans appeared increasingly confident as they milled into the Senate's ornate Strom Thurmond room to hash out the remaining details of a tax bill that has been a moving target. Among the changes Ms. Collins secured was adding in a $10,000 property tax deduction into the Senate bill. Ms. Collins tweeted that she was delighted with the move. Mr. Corker had pushed to scale back the tax cuts in the Senate bill in the wake of a report from the Congressional Joint Committee on Taxation that projected the bill would add $1 trillion to deficits over the course of a decade, even after accounting for economic growth. On Thursday night, Republicans were discussing several possibilities for changing the bill to address deficit concerns, including gradually raising the corporate tax rate in later years. But other Republicans resisted the idea of raising taxes, and on Friday, that idea was off the table. This is yet another tough vote. I am disappointed. I wanted to get to yes. But at the end of the day, I am not able to cast aside my fiscal concerns and vote for legislation that I believe, based on the information I currently have, could deepen the debt burden on future generations, Mr. Corker said in a statement.